Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we're going to start this. It's Friday, you know. Used to on Fridays, I would, if he was around, I would start a video with the official cool guy of the Digital Asset Investor channel walking down the street in New York. Well, he's been taking a little break, and so we've given out a new title at XRP Las Vegas when the official legend of the Digital Asset Investor channel jumped in the pool during the after party while nobody else was in it, and he was completely comfortable doing so. This guy got official legend status, and he actually knows a few things. I don't know if you've ever, see, that's the thing, is that many of you may have never heard him actually start talking about stuff about Ripple and XRP. Well, listen to this, because you're really being introduced to the official legend here.
Sean over here is very knowledgeable on the beginnings of the fintech giant Ripple Labs, starting from or receiving their XRP from the once evolving from OpenCoin. Sean, I was hoping you can dive into the backstory of OpenCoin and how they gifted the XRPs to Ripple.
Yeah. I'm not all good looks here, folks. I got some knowledge.
It's not just good looks.
Nutshell, quick version of it. I mean, it all started with Ryan Fugger, as far back as I know, with Ripple Pay. Ripple Pay was like 2004. That morphed into OpenCoin. With OpenCoin, I would like to say, I believe, don't quote me on everything, I'm pretty sure I'm right though, that's when Schwartz and Arthur Brito minted the coin. I believe Arthur was the 100 billion XRP, which at the time was XNS. And when OpenCoin morphed into Ripple, they gifted the 100 billion tokens to Ripple, the company, and that's how Ripple came about their XRP. And there's a million layers to it, and I can go on for hours. But in a nutshell, Ryan Fugger, Ripple Pay, OpenCoin, mint the coins, gift the coins to Ripple. Ripple, we know it today. So pretty sure I'm right about all that. If I'm not, correct me and I'll accept it. There you go.
Let us know your thoughts in the description of this video below.
I'm tired. I'm trying to piece it together and I'm tired, but that's basically the outline.
I think OpenCoin was from 2012 to 2014. Ripple was 2014.
The most interesting thing to me, and I've said it time and time again, is it all started with Ryan Fugger with Ripple Pay and his vision. And I mean, that doesn't seem to be dug into enough. I've dug as far as I know how to go into what he's doing or what he did do and how that all came about. But there's some sort of origin of truth with Ryan Fugger and Ripple Pay and what was going on there, and I don't know what it is.
He was working with that for a while, developing the payments technology, Ryan, for many years before.
And that's Snakey right there. Snakey's the guy. He's like the number. He needs to be the official guy who comments under my X post the fastest and the most often.
Before OpenCoin.
He's a good guy too.
The way I gathered it was he had the vision, and then Schwartz and them developed the tech, and then Ripple became the institutional behemoth based on the tech and everything else. So you're learning, every day I wake up, I think I know what I'm talking about, and I have to learn 1,000 things more. And then the next day I'm back to where I started learning 1,000 things more. So
see, these are the words of wisdom from the official legend of the DI channel.
That's right. There he is when he jumped in the pool. We can have fun on Fridays, folks. Okay, so now this is something that was caught here that I'm interested in. Listen to what David Schwartz says. He references Circle.
Which is a very...
He says USDC is what he said.
Which is a very regulated product that's enabled completely, it has anonymous holders, right? No, Circle doesn't know who they are. And
anonymous holders, and then this XRP drops reminds us of what Brad Garlinghouse said about the Circle stablecoin versus XRP or versus real USD. There's Ripple stablecoin.
The second thing, and one of the catalysts I had to talk
Turn the volume. I'll start this again.
Leaning in for Ripple was when USDC. The second thing, and one of the catalysts I haven't talked about this publicly, but one of the catalysts to to leaning in for Ripple was when USDC depegged last spring, 14 months ago. Circle stepped in and said, hey, we'll stand in that gap. It went down to 93 cents, and Circle said, we guarantee $1. And USDC didn't move. Now, it's partly because I think Circle doesn't have a big balance sheet. Had Ripple said that at the same time, I think you would have seen USDC regain its peg, because Ripple has $20, $30 billion of balance sheet behind it, which I think would have been a positive thing. So, look, I think USDC is going to continue to be very successful. I think, the Ripple stablecoin, which we haven't really announced the name around yet, but I'm very optimistic. There's a lot of market share there. There's a lot of growth, and so.
All right, so that's some interesting commentary, and so is this from Sam Lyman about stablecoins. What if I told you the path to U.S. solvency runs through crypto? The key ingredients equals stablecoins plus BTC. Step 1, supercharged dollarization through widespread promotion of USD stablecoins. Functionality: stablecoins are the new euro dollar and will play a critical role in expanding dollar dominance. They will also multiply demand for U.S. debt, making it easier to service over time. Step 2, make the dollar great again. How? By gobbling up Bitcoin supply and making it a strategic reserve asset that, what about XRP? Along with a basket of other commodities, backs the USD. This will catalyze nation-state adoption and give the U.S. a first-mover advantage as it becomes the micro-strategy of nations. It will simultaneously increase dollar and thereby stablecoin demand as its value becomes tied to the scarcest resource on the planet Earth, Bitcoin. The strategic, these people don't totally get it yet, but they will. The strategic deployment of stablecoins, Bitcoin, will create a positive flywheel, where have you heard that before, that will lift our country out of its current monetary morass. Perhaps Bitcoin was never meant to replace the dollar, it was meant to save it. Call this Bitcoin nationalism. I'll call it XRP nationalism because you can actually use XRP for things. Then we've got these politicians. It's a good thing that they've entered the fray, but they're entering the fray from the standpoint, they're hitting the surface area, which is what the Bitcoin lobby has been trying to do. Here's Thomas Massey, who's one of the good guys, saying the Bitcoin book helped him create the In the Fed bill.
And I was actually listening to an audio book by Saifuddin Ammous called The Bitcoin Standard. And I'll warn anybody who wants to listen to that book, the first 80% of it is not about Bitcoin. It's about money and what is money, which I think is important to understanding Federal Reserve. And also, but he has to lay that down so he can explain what Bitcoin is, because you can't assume everybody knows what money was. And frankly, I learned some things or picked up some vocabulary that I did.
All right, that's enough of that. I want you to hear this, because this is the CEO
Great
of
segue
Archex, and he's commenting on the Ripple stablecoin.
Great segue into stablecoin. As you know, Ripple launched its own stablecoin second half of this year. And so what role do you see stablecoins playing in all this?
Yeah, I think everyone puts things in the buckets, I think, or at least I do, crypto and stable coins, and then RWA, digital securities. But the reality is the securities piece, the real value only comes when you have something like RLUSD able to be used in line with the security. So, for example, if you want to have, everyone talks about atomic settlement, but when you go and look at most atomic settlement offerings in the space, all they are database entries where they're swapping beneficial ownerships of cash and tokens. But if you actually have someone buying an asset using a stablecoin and someone selling an asset on the same technology, that's something that didn't really exist before. In the traditional world, the fiat rails are over here, your asset rails are over here, and you have to try and make them talk. But if they're on the same technology, then you can ask questions. If you've delivered this and you've delivered that, then settle. You can start paying corporate actions using stable coins. You can, part of the interest and dividends that now exist in our system, we can pay out in XRPL. So if you've got a distributing fund, we could pay our LUSD out as a dividend, or we could pay script dividends of more of the same shares on XRPL. So, stablecoins really are one of the big keys to unlocking this space. So, it's great you guys going into this space, and great that Jack's leading it as well, because Jack's a great guy.
Very interesting stuff being said. Now, check this out. This is why Consensus sued the SEC. The SEC was literally about to designate Ethereum a security, not by coming out and saying it. This shady Gary Gensler, what he was going to do is just start doing enforcement actions that led in that direction. Listen to
software developers
Shady Lubin.
On 1559 or the merge or other things, when we became aware that the SEC was subpoenaing software developers in different companies and even scrutinizing independent software developers who were working on the protocol, we got very alarmed. And so we took this action, suing the SEC to get some clarity on how they were interpreting Ether, the classification of Ether, and it did become clear that they had internally decided to reclassify it as a security without telling anybody, and then using sequenced strategic enforcement actions, tried to regulate by FUD, scare people.
Right. Now, if you weren't there when we were uncovering ETHgate, and I think this is something that, look, you're going to now see, and I'm not going to play this whole thing, but what I did is I put together a clip of the way Joseph Lubin, when he thought he had a monopoly, that the SEC had worked with him to give him a monopoly. He was basically had to screw the rest of the industry. He knew they were going to slam the door, and it's fascinating to watch this guy versus now. Then he said, he was saying, well, it's going to be hard for anybody else because you've got to be decentralized and you can't get there, basically, is what he would say. And now he's talking about we need a decentralization framework and all this. But, the XRP Army is not given enough credit, but the history is going to be told in the XRP Unleashed documentary coming out. But the XRP Army is not given enough credit. You wouldn't see any of what you're seeing, the entire industry fighting for its life. You wouldn't see any of that if the XRP Army had not uncovered ETHgate. ETHgate, it was necessary to uncover ETHgate to make the rest of the industry, because remember, all that was wanted, nobody uncovering ETHgate wanted anything bad for Bitcoin or Ethereum. We wanted a level playing field. But you had to expose what had been done to put the SEC in the precarious situation that they're now in, so that they had to threaten somebody else. It's almost like that, because if they hadn't, then the rest of the industry would not have had to fight. They were happy to sit on the side. All of them were happy to sit on the sidelines and just watch XRP gone after. Remember that. That's not something I'll be forgetting. Stuart Alderati, in yesterday's testimony, Gary kept talking about the crypto asset securities. That's a made-up term found nowhere in the law by a deeply flawed, unelected bureaucrat. So you got to understand, folks, the SEC was going to give Bitcoin and Ethereum a free pass, and they were going to slam the door on the rest of the industry. That was the plan, and Joseph Lubin was down with the plan. It wasn't until we did what we did where they were put in a situation where, this messes up our plan. And that's why people are fighting for the entire crypto industry now. And a lot of them were on board this, by the way. You know who they are. The documentary will tell you. State of DeFi, in short, it's probably on Ethereum or on the EVM. Listen to what they say here.
Zooming out on the state of DeFi, in short, it is probably on Ethereum. If it's not on Ethereum, it's on the EVM. And we see that with, ETH having a majority of the TVL. We see that with Tron, Binance, Avalanche, all these other networks that are using the EVM, similar to, the Evmos client that is used for PeerSyst's EVM sidechain. And we're seeing that is where users and liquidity are. We are seeing $100 billion plus of total value locked.
This industry is just getting started. And XRP is going to be the XRP ledger is going to bridge to all this stuff, folks. All right, Then we got this, the inaugural Ripple Policy Thought Leaders Lunch, policy changes of regulating tokenized real-world assets. These are key takeaways from the public policy at Ripple. Rahul Advani. Tokenized real-world assets are often grouped together, but they actually encompass various assets with distinct legal features. We need a taxonomy that reflects these unique characteristics. Sandboxes are useful, Although there is currently no global collaboration on tokenized real-world assets, this will change. In the interim, we can expect more localized and bilateral cross-border collaboration. I don't know where they are here. Okay, in DAIXRP.com, we're going to do two things. I want to talk to you about what some of the potential, everybody talks about black swans. Let's talk about what some of the potential white swans are. In other words, what are some of the things that could happen in the world that would cause crypto to blast off? We're going to go over some. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that away we go.